This is an outnumbered attack. The defender has more troops, more reserves, and every advantage. A direct assault usually ends in failure, so how do smaller forces attack larger defenders and still win? In this video, we're going to break that down. How to create local superiority, isolate parts of the battlefield, maintain tempo, exploit terrain, and use modern tools like drones to overcome the numbers disadvantage. The baseline in military planning is roughly 3-to-1. An attacker needs approximately 3 times the combat strength of a defender to expect success. Against prepared defenses, the ratio climbs higher, 5-to-1, sometimes more. Defenders fight from cover, while attackers have to advance into fire. Defenders already know the terrain, while attackers have to navigate it under pressure and exposure. Every meter forward increases casualties and logistical strain. Even a well-trained attacking force loses coordination as it advances. Units separate, visibility drops, communication slows. These disadvantages compound quickly, but none of this means an outnumbered attacking force cannot succeed. A force that uses terrain, surprise, timing, deception, or maneuver effectively can reduce the defender's advantages significantly. In some situations, a smaller attacking force can concentrate combat power at a decisive point and achieve superiority, despite being outnumbered overall. Fronts cannot be matched evenly, so don't bother trying. One section is selected and becomes the focus of the attack. Force shifts toward that point while other sections are held with minimal presence. The advantage comes from asymmetry. The defender spreads across the entire line. The attacker concentrates on a single section until it fails. A clear example comes from Napoleon's campaigns. He fixed the enemy along a broad front with part of his force while concentrating the main effort on a single flank. The enemy stayed engaged across the line while the decisive force hit one point. That section broke and the line collapsed with it. Speed determines where the concentration works. If reinforcement arrives in time, the advantage disappears. If it arrives too late, the break is already decided. Your job is to make the battlefield smaller. The defender's numbers only matter if they can be brought into the fight together. Terrain that slows movement or reinforcement prevents that from happening. Outnumbered attackers look for ground that breaks the battlefield into separate engagements. River crossings, forests, mountain passes, urban streets, places where movement compresses and coordination breaks down. Once that happens, the engagement stops being continuous. It becomes a series of isolated fights that unfold in different places and at different times. The defender cannot apply full strength at once. Units arrive in sequence rather than together. Each position has to be resolved before the next can reinforce it. What looks like numerical superiority on paper no longer exists in practice. Success comes from forcing separation in space and time. Information moves up the chain of command, decisions move back down, and action follows afterward. Larger forces take longer to process and distribute those decisions. An outnumbered attacker moves before the response is ready. Rapid movement forces the enemy to react to situations they have not fully understood yet. Orders arrive late. Reinforcements move toward positions that are already lost. Units react to outdated information while the battlefield continues changing around them. This requires initiative at lower levels of command. Junior officers and small unit leaders need authority to act without waiting for detailed instructions. Delays created by centralized control slow the attack and give the defender time to reorganize. Blitzkrieg relied heavily on this principle. German armored forces advanced faster than French command structures could process and respond to the changing situation. Decisions lagged behind events on the ground and coordination collapsed under the pace of the advance. Quick note, download the full attack guide and assessment sheet in the store below. Patreon includes bonus scenes and early access. Numbers on an order of battle and actual combat power are not the same thing. A large army depends on fuel, communication, transport, supply, and coordination, functioning at the same time. Failures in any of those systems reduce the amount of force that can actually fight. An outnumbered attacker looks for those failures constantly. Units without fuel cannot reposition. Delayed communication slows reinforcement. Poor coordination creates gaps between formations. Reserves that exist on paper may arrive too late to affect the battle. Large forces rarely operate at equal quality across the entire front. Some sectors are heavily defended, others are thin, disorganized, or dependent on fragile supply routes. During the Continuation War, Finnish forces repeatedly exploited those weaknesses against much larger Soviet formations. Soviet numerical superiority was offset by poor coordination, rigid command structures, weak situational awareness, and vulnerable movement through forests and narrow roads. Finnish forces concentrated against isolated sections before larger Soviet formations could respond effectively. Now for everything combined into one near-perfect example of how an outnumbered attack actually works, using only infantry and drones. The target is a forested area held in separated positions. The defender is stretched across the terrain, with one main supply route running through a wooded road. Units are spaced out and cannot easily support each other. Reinforcements depend on that single route. Before contact, drones are already working. The supply line is tracked and repeatedly hit. Convoys hesitate, movement becomes irregular, and the defenders are low on supplies. The terrain gives us even more of an advantage. Forest breaks visibility and movement into separate pockets. One position cannot quickly reinforce another. The defender is already split before the attack begins. Then the force is concentrated. Units are pulled from secondary areas and committed to just one axis of attack. Recon drones go first. They mark positions, confirm weak points, and track movement inside the forest. Nothing is assumed. Enemy recon drones are actively countered at this stage. They cannot be allowed to read the concentration of force before the assault begins. Strike and loitering drones then hit the most dangerous positions covering the approach. This happens at the moment the ground force moves, not before. The strikes and the assault land together. As that happens, the ground force moves fast across open ground and into the tree line. The lead officer has full command authority. No requests back to HQ and no waiting for permission. Speed is the only thing keeping the window open. The infantry navigates between isolated positions before they can connect. The supply route is still under pressure. Reinforcements are delayed and some never arrive at all. Those that get to cover are watched by drones. Inside the forest, the defender is fighting in separate pockets. One position cannot support another. Each becomes a smaller fight on its own. When positions begin collapsing, the advance continues but does not chase. Depth is controlled. Pushing too far into unknown ground without resupply or support turns the breakthrough into an isolated pocket of your own. The attack works because the defender never gets the chance to assemble their full strength in one place. Divide and conquer. Outnumbered attacks do not forgive errors. The first mistake is offering no surprise. If the defender is already waiting, then numbers decide the fight immediately. That is exactly the situation the 3-to-1 rule was designed to describe. Not using drones. Every strike drone saves a potential friendly casualty. Every recon drone saves you from moving blind. The larger force already has eyes in the air. If you do not, you are making every decision with less information than they have. Splitting forces. Spreading pressure across the front removes local superiority. You no longer have a decisive point. You have several weak ones and a larger force that can simply reinforce wherever you push. Attacking strong points, hitting the enemy where they are already prepared wastes the only real advantage you have. The decisive point is defined by where their line is weak. Predictable movement. Not using cover, not varying routes, not concealing intentions. The enemy has recon drones. Predictable movements tell them where you are going before you arrive, and an attacker that loses surprise has already lost most of the fight. Losing tempo after success. Any pause after a breakthrough allows the defender to reform the line. Keep moving. Overextending. Pushing too deep without support turns success into isolation. You are now inside enemy territory, supply lines stretched, flanks exposed, with no friendly force close enough to matter. Letting the battlefield widen. More engagement directions means more troops tied down covering flanks instead of concentrated at the decisive point. Keep the battlefield narrow. Alright, thanks for watching. Check out the store and my Patreon, both are linked below.